Lord of the Mysteries. Chapter 295. All ingredients gathered. Audrey had always had a subconscious understanding that a rainbow salamander equals the rainbow salamander's pituitary gland equals the size of one's palm. To her, it would be something soft with grooves, a beyonder ingredient which constantly changed in color. So, what did that have to do with the 3-meter-long colossus in front of her? For a moment she was confused, but when she heard Susie's yelp, she snapped to her senses. She pretended to be satisfied with the result and said to the butler, "This is exactly the animal specimen I need." It's just a little bigger than I thought, just a little. Take the servants and move them to the warehouse. I'll study it when I'm free." "Yes, miss." Then, the butler immediately instructed the nearby valets who were furtively looking at their mistress. Audrey looked around and, without another word, led Susie into the manor's study. Using the excuse that she had to focus on writing a return letter to her brother, she made all the maids she had brought stay outside. After the dissection is done, there will be 2 sets of rainbow salamander pituitary glands. A portion can be used to exchange for a Farsman rabbit, just enough to concoct a bottle of the telepathist potion. Audrey gradually recovered from her astonishment and confusion as she began to think about Susie's advancement. At that moment, she thought of a serious problem. She had no idea if Susie had digested the potion or not. If it hasn't been completely digested, consuming the telepathist potion would easily lead to a loss of control. She isn't like a human who can endure through it. Wait, how? Did she endure it the first time? Besides, her current intelligence is about that of a 10-year-old child's. As she's already learning words in the lone language, and she said she wishes to read newspapers and magazines, as well as books. Audrey fell silent for a few seconds. She glanced at the confused, large golden retriever that sat beside her. "Susie, have you completely digested the potion?" "Digest?" Susie returned with clear articulation, expressing her puzzlement. Audrey had already told her that what she had taken was a potion, and she had warned her not to tell anyone, and not to tell any intelligent animals that could bark or meow. Audrey nodded her head slowly and heavily. "It's a very strange and unique feeling. It feels like something illusory inside your body breaks down and fuses with your mind. You will vaguely see illusory stars one after another, and you will be one of them. These stars will attract each other, in a bid to fuse as one." Susie quietly listened to everything, then replied with a light and brisk voice. "Then I should have completely digested it. I've had a similar feeling before." "Ah?" Susie has completely digested the spectator potion. But no one taught her the acting method. At most, I would occasionally remind her to observe more and remain calm. Audrey asked in astonishment, "When did you digest it?" "Last month, the month before last, or perhaps even earlier." Susie tried her best to recall when. Seeing that her mistress's expression was getting odder and odder, she hurriedly wagged her tail and timidly added, "I don't remember. I'm just a dog. I won't purposely remember such things." "Woof. Just a dog. But you were only a little slower at digesting than me. Don't tell me that when I interact with other beyonders. I'll say that when it comes to digesting potions, I'm a little better than a dog." "Pooey! Audrey, what are you thinking?" Audrey maintained her elegant smile and politely praised. "Very good, I mean, on this matter regarding the digestion of the potion, you did very well." Returning from Leopard's Place, Klein took a leisurely afternoon nap. But it wasn't long before he was awakened by illusory, disconcerting cries. "Mail? Is it Mr. Hangman or Little Son? Is one of the final main ingredients for my potion ready?" Klein carefully tried distinguishing who for a few seconds and soon forgot about his anger from being awakened. He quickly got up, took 4 steps counterclockwise, and went above the gray fog. He noticed that the crimson star that symbolized the hangman was contracting and expanding. Hence, he stretched out his hand, spreading his spirituality before touching it. After the usual honorary names of the fool, the hanged man prayed. "I've already gathered the dark patterned Black Panther spinal fluid and the spring of the elves' marrow crystals. Please permit me to hold a sacrificial ritual and seek your help in handing it to Mr. World. That's pretty fast. The hangman had said that there would be a grand event among the pirates soon. It seems like it's not soon, but now. He always holds back when speaking, never fully speaking the truth. Klein nodded indiscernibly and said, Sure. After a simple sacrificial ritual, Alger resisted his urge to ask Mr. Fool if the celestial globe on Admiral of Stars Katla had anything to do with him. At this moment, Klein had already forgotten about him and was admiring the two Beyonder ingredients on the surface of the long bronze table. The dark patterned Black Panther spinal fluid was a seemingly translucent liquid, but if one looked carefully, they would discover that its clarity was also divided into different levels. The lower one went, the more transparent they were at distinct levels. It fully satisfied someone with an obsessive-compulsive disorder. The spring of the elves' marrow crystals was similar to a faded egg. Its shell was very thin, and it looked like it could easily shatter at a touch. Even without shaking, one could still hear the sound of swishing water inside. I should be able to get 300 pounds and a formula clue. My magician is only short of the true root and juice of the mist treant. I wonder when Little Sun will complete the mission. Klein waited in anticipation. As for the other supplementary ingredients, he had already bought them at various stores. For example, the droplet gem he needed to buy was purchased from a jewelry store, and he had ground it into powder. 5 grams was about 2.5 pounds. The son, Derek, didn't keep Klein waiting long, and on Wednesday evening, he whispered a prayer to the fool that he had prepared the true root and juice of the mist treant and asked him to pass them on to the world. The mist treant's true root was heart-shaped, brown, palm-sized, and wrinkled. It looked like an old man's skin, but its back was as smooth and exquisite as a gem. It was slightly expanding and contracting, as though it had a certain amount of vitality. Its juice was light green and sparkling, making it look very delicious. Klein just looked at them, feeling a little smug. In the present day and age, Sequence 7 was the threshold of a mid-sequence Beyonder. This meant that a Beyonder would finally be able to bid farewell to the state of being only slightly stronger than ordinary people in certain aspects. They would be able to wield a relative abundance of Beyonder powers. Phew! Klein slowly exhaled, returned to his bedroom, and summoned himself to bring the Beyonder ingredients into the real world. He didn't prepare any additional vessels. He washed an iron pot in the kitchen a few times and began to concoct the potion according to the steps of handling the supplementary ingredients before handling the main ingredients. With the clown's ability at controlling his body, he quickly finished the first stage, and one by one, he put in the dark patterned Black Panther's spinal fluid and the mist treant's true root. Sizzle! With a jarring sound, a pale white fog suddenly rose and was forcefully pulled back into the pot by an invisible force. When everything calmed down, Klein quickly poured every drop of liquid into a transparent bottle that he had prepared. That liquid was rather special. It was as if fireworks were constantly being released from within it. Red, orange, yellow, green, and other colors constantly scattered, disappeared, and then reappeared again. This was the magician potion. Klein stuck a coin worth 1 pound between his thumb and index finger of his left hand, flicked it up, and opened his palm to catch it. He was using divination to confirm if the potion he concocted had succeeded. Pa! The gold coin fell, its portrait faced up, indicating a positive response. Without any hesitation, Klein put away the gold coin, picked up the potion, and walked out of the kitchen. At that moment, the sky was already dark. The gas lamps in the room hadn't been lit up yet, causing the surroundings to be in complete darkness. Only the light near the oriel window created a gloomy scene. Klein sat down on the sofa and began cogitation to calm his stirring heart and dispel all of his emotions temporarily from his body. After doing all of this, he raised the glass bottle, tipped his head, and drank the magician potion. Gulp! Gulp! The ice-cold potion went down his throat, and at every moment, it felt like countless bubbles were bursting. Klein's entire body was experiencing this stimulation, and massive amounts of information flooded his mind, blooming into fireworks. The veins on his forehead bulged, and his head felt like it was about to burst. However, this wasn't a very difficult situation for Klein to endure. The terrifying ravings before entering the gray fog and the evil roars of the true creator were much more terrifying. Hornaces! Phlegria! Hornaces! Phlegria! Hornaces! Phlegria! The ethereal temptation echoed again. Klein's head expanded and contracted repeatedly before he gradually recovered his thoughts. He began to consciously restrain his thoughts, outline the spherical light, and slowly enter a state of cogitation. After an unknown period of time, his vision recovered. At the same time, he felt an itch all over his body, with his arms feeling the worst. Klein rolled up his sleeves and was surprised to see that one of his arms was deeply wrinkled, like a centenarian. The other arm had lost its color and had become translucent. He could directly see his blood vessels, muscles, and veins. Could it be that I had nearly lost control? No, it shouldn't be. This should be the remnant influences. Klein sat on the sofa in the dark, leaning forward as he watched the anomaly in his arms warily, as if it were a breeding ground for monsters. And all of this had nothing to do with Klein. He sat quietly on the sofa in the darkness, watching his creased skin and the translucent state of his arms slowly recover. 5 to 6 minutes later, Klein silently sighed as everything finally returned to normal. It's a good thing that no one came knocking on the door or ringing on the bell. I only chose to advance after completely digesting the Sequence 8 potion. With such severe effects, it would be hard for those Beyonders who depended on time to grind through the potion. It really is difficult to pass this stage. No wonder Captain took 9 years. No wonder Swain, the former captain of a mandated Punisher squad and owner of the Evil Dragon Bar, didn't dare to consume the Sequence 7 potion, Seafarer. After sitting silently for more than 10 seconds, Klein slowly stood up. At that moment, he was already a mid-sequence Beyonder. At that moment, he was already a magician.